Hey, what's up, guys? Mac here. I wanted to try my first unscripted video and kind of just talk about the games I played last year because I sort of want to spread some thoughts about them without having to write out full, like, backlogged reviews. And I also wanted to tease a sort of project slash challenge I have for this year, 2026. So, I'm not going to waste your time. I'll let you know right away. This is a more chill listening type video. So, just put it on while you're relaxing or doing chores or whatever. And we'll talk about some games. So, first, I'm going to start with the D tier. I did not play any F tier games this year, at least not any that I completed or have anything worth saying about. But I did play some games that I think were disappointing, and they both come from Daddy Nintendo. Let's start with Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now, Echoes of Wisdom, that was a tough game for me to finish, and I was fairly excited for it because it felt like it was 2D Zelda with the sort of design philosophy of Tears of the Kingdom, and I adore Tears of the Kingdom. It is in my top 5 games of all time. I think it is some of the most fun I've ever had with a video game. So the thought of applying this logic to 2D Zelda seemed like a great idea, but it wasn't. I did not enjoy it, at least not the way it was implemented here, because the ecosystem, instead of being a free and fun like Tears was, it was extremely restrictive and not great. I hate the UI of the game specifically. It is very annoying to constantly switch around your echoes and to find the echo you need. And the combat is severely kneecapped because of this system. I really, I really just had a lot of trouble getting into it. I will say the first few dungeons of the game I was sort of enjoying. You get new echoes, you explore these, dungeons, you explore this pretty charming world. That's probably the biggest compliment I can give to this game, is that the actual world is very charming and very sort of pleasant to admire. But I just couldn't get into the ecosystem. And once you get certain echoes like water or beds or this one enemy that's sort of like a rising platform that you can stack to basically achieve infinite height, all the puzzles in the game kind of break. And for 99% of puzzles, you will have the same solution and get past them very easily. And then same with combat encounters, you will just keep summoning very strong enemies to destroy everything for you, and becomes pretty brain dead after that. Just a completely brain dead experience, which is not the spirit of Zelda at all for me. I'll give credit where credit's due. I thought the final boss was pretty fun. It adds a new mechanic, and I did enjoy that. But overall, this was a very mediocre game, and actually my least favorite Zelda game by far. My other D tier was Mario Luigi Brothership, which was another game I was fairly excited for. I don't think Mario Luigi is like a masterpiece, like S class RPG series, but I do find the combat in the game incredibly fun. I love sort of how each enemy has their own attack patterns, and you got to sort of master the attack patterns while also learning how to do your attacks as efficiently and expertly as possible to deal as much damage. And I can say that the combat system is very good in Brothership. It is arguably the best in the series. It's not only fun, but they add a lot of strategy to it as well, which adds an extra layer to where it's not just all reactive. What wasn't fun was how you have to backtrack constantly throughout this entire game. and it is bloated beyond belief. The average Mario and Luigi game is 20, maybe 25 hours, you know. This game is easily 40, and there's no reason it had to be that long. It is purely that long because of bloat, and there's nothing I hate more than games that waste my time. The story was also just very bad, in my opinion. Like, I wasn't expecting a great story, but the previous games had such like charming characters and concepts and this and that. And Brothership had like nothing. Like there was one plot line with like Bowser Jr. that I kind of got invested in slightly, but I really just could not care less about the plot in this game. It was pretty like bottom of the barrel, even for Mario and Luigi standards. The soundtrack also took a hit because we don't have Yoko Shimomura anymore. And while the new music is good, it is acceptable, it is nowhere near as good as Yoko's music is, so it was kind of a shame. However, I will say that when the combat was good, it was very good. And the game is also very pleasant to look at, similarly to Echoes of Wisdom. But unfortunately, just like I said, that the backtracking is just so egregious. It's like truly unforgivably bad, and there's way too much story for how little effort they put into it. You know, I didn't care. So that's D tier. Those are the two worst games I completed in 2025. Now moving up the C tier. These are games that I think are good, but they have major issues that prevented me from really like fully enjoying the experience. So first off, we're going to start with the last game I played in 2026. The last game I beat, period. The Dragon Quest One HD 2D remake. I'd already played Dragon Quest One. It was the Game Boy Color version, I believe, and I don't like it very much. I didn't like that version, um, and I think this version is better, but not by as much as I thought I would. I kind of thought this would be like a slam dunk game, you know, like it's HD 2D, it's beautiful, it's, you know, I love the Dragon Quest 3 remake. It's in my top like 4 or 5 Dragon Quest games, but Dragon Quest 1 HD 2D was a little bit disappointing, to be honest. You have the orchestral score, which is great. You know, I remember the times when Dragon Quest games got MIDI scores, so every time the orchestral score is there, it's great. And of course, the HD2 graphics are beyond gorgeous. But they made a weird change from the original game, where in the original, you only had one party member, the hero, but you only would fight one enemy at a time. So it kind of balanced it out, you know? But in this game, that is not the case. You can get mobbed by like 5, 6 monsters. And I mean, honestly, I just think that's ridiculous in a one person party, you know, like why do I have to fight all these enemies? And there's multiple times I would just like die in the overworld to like normal encounters because I'm just getting, you know, overwhelmed completely. Um, and also they changes to the story were just they're just kind of minor in my opinion. Like the fairies and the dwarfs and shits. Like I didn't really care that much, you know. None of the new story developments really had anything for me there. There was one cool addition with that relates to the Dragon Quest III hero because you're meant to play this game after 3. And I thought that was actually great. That almost had me a little emotional, but other than that, I just wasn't too invested in the story. I think the princess is a very cute character. I like how you can take her along for the entire journey if you plan it out right, but I also fucked up there because they hide a key item in the castle. And if you do not get that key item before you rescue her, you have to go back to the castle and relinquish the princess. So I did not get to finish the game with her, and that made me pretty sad and a little salty, honestly. But overall, I just don't think a one person RPG is very fun. I think team building is a very important part of role playing games, and when you take that aspect out, it just kind of falls apart for me. So Dragon Quest One remake was a little mid. The other C tier game is a game I don't even think is mid. I think this is a legitimately good game, but it just severely disappointed me, so I kind of put it a little bit low. And that is Trails Through Daybreak 2. I adore Trails. It is one of my favorite series, right up there with Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. But Trails Through Daybreak 2 didn't really have what I love in the series, and that is its storytelling. Its combat is without a doubt the best combat in the series. It has immaculate combat. It has an amazing soundtrack. It is the best looking Trails game outside of the Sky remake. It has a lot of things going for it, but the story is just so bloated. And if you couldn't tell from Brothership, bloated stories are my kryptonite. I don't like it very much. So to get that in a Trails game, which is the series that I think has the best storyline in gaming. I have said this time and time again. Trails is the greatest storyline in gaming. So when a game like this comes out and I don't enjoy the story very much, it's a tough pill to swallow. And the story's not like terrible. Like weirdly enough, the intermission in this game is really good, and it has some revelations that really shocked me. Honestly, like there's some pretty dark stuff in this game, and it sort of goes places that other Trails games have gone, but it explores those topics more in depth, and I thought that was pretty surprising and very interesting to come from this game of all things. But overall, I just the story felt like a pretty big waste of time, and I I don't think this game needed to be as long as it was really, which is kind of funny because it's one of the shorter Trails games. I think it's like 40 hours when most games can, go into like 50 or 60 even. But no, I just I didn't enjoy the story very much, so it is what it is. Now moving on the B tier. These are the games I thought were good, but not like mind blowing or anything. These were the good, nice plays. I don't regret playing them, but I also, you know, they are what they are. I'll start out with Hollow Knight. It might be a little controversial because I know Hollow Knight is unbelievably beloved. It is, a game people adore, but it just had some issues for me. Like, I don't really like the map system in the game very much. I thought it was kind of annoying having to look for the map guy every single time, and then I had to like keep a charm on to know where I was on the map. I do like Metroidvanias, specifically the Vania part of it. I love Egavania, and I love the Record of Lodoss War Metroidvania is actually my favorite probably. That one was great. But this one didn't quite hit as hard as I thought it would. I think the world is incredible. I really like the world of Hollow Knight actually. And I looked up some lore videos, and it's kind of like Dark Souls lore, which I don't really like that very much. But I will say, once you know the lore, it's very cool. I did enjoy the lore, and it's pretty emotional too, which I didn't expect. The combat is fun. The customization can get pretty deep, and I like that. Some of the sort of like side quests to get better like health upgrades or gear was a little bit tedious in my opinion. I think some of those were unnecessarily difficult or long, but overall, exploring Hollow Knight's world was pretty fun. I do have to give specific mention though that the last few hours of this game were pretty miserable for me. I did not like the White Palace. I think it was called the White Palace. I did not like that. I didn't even try Path of Pain because I knew I wouldn't like it. I'm not really a hardcore platformer type guy, and most Metroidvanias don't have insane platforming like this game does. So know that you're getting into like Celeste levels of platforming as well, which I don't like that very much, honestly. And then I also really didn't like the final boss. I felt like the final boss was like weird, just a really weird difficulty spike where I was pretty much first trying most bosses, and if I didn't first try them, I would just have to like switch up my build a little bit, and then I get them, and then you get the final boss, and I was like stuck on it for a good while. And when I did beat it, I didn't feel like, oh yeah, I just surmounted that hard boss. I felt like I got weirdly lucky because it like didn't do any of its difficult attacks. It just kind of let me beat it to death. And I was like, oh, okay, I won because of weird RNG, I guess. I'll take it, you know. But yeah, Hollow Knight's a good game, but it didn't quite hit for me like it did other people. Okay, now we got Final Fantasy IV 3D Remake. I have played FF4 before. I played it on the Wii. I played it on the Wii Virtual Console, the SNES version, and it was fine. I thought the music was incredible, and I think Cecil has a great storyline, but I never really liked it that much. I was like, it's FF4, whatever. I'll play like any other FF over it, honestly. But with the 3D remake, I actually liked it quite a bit more, even though it's in B tier still. The voice acting is very, very, very good. I don't know why the voice acting is so good, but like some of these performances were insane. Like especially Golbez, he had so much aura in this game because of his VA, and I thought that was really cool. And then also just seeing the like actual cutscenes in this game with like, I thought they were very well directed. Specifically that first scene where Cecil's talking about how much of a coward he is with Rosa. That scene always like actually makes me cry. I think it's like arguably one of the best like early scenes in a FF game. It's kind of amazing how quickly you end up caring about Cecil and his journey, and like these characters. It's like amazingly fast how well it does that, and just the whole journey is pretty fun. One of the reasons it's a little lower is because the random encounters. I don't hate random encounters per se, but when you have a lot of them in your game, and they're like long battles, it can really feel like a drag. And this game has way too many damn random encounters without any sort of way to mitigate them. I was getting pretty annoyed, especially since the game encourages you to sort of explore the map 100% to get items. Doing that with all the random encounters, it just made it feel like I was wasting a lot of time that I didn't need to. But I do think that this is the best way to play FF4 overall. And I played it with a patch that adds the Pixel Remaster music, which was amazing. I Pixel Remaster music always blows me away. It's so fucking good. It's just banger after banger. Um, so yeah, FF4 is a good time. I enjoyed it mostly overall. Everhood 2. Everhood 2 is kind of like one of the reasons I sort of wanted to make this, just because it's like such a such a crazy weird game. Like the story just goes in such odd, like insane places that even though I don't think it's good, I sort of just want to recommend it to you because it's one of those things where it's like you gotta witness it to understand it. And I feel like the game tried to have like this depth on the level of like something like Xenogears, but with like 1/7 of the runtime, and it just kind of doesn't work. But like the first Everhood is probably my favorite indie game of all time. Um, at least until Deltarune is finished. By the way, quickly, I did play chapters 3 or 4 of Deltarune. I don't want to get my full thoughts on it yet, just because I think experiencing the full game will be important. Because like, if I end up hating the next chapters, I'm not, I'm not going to look back at 3 and 4 very positively. But I think the game's fun, and I think the story's great in Deltarune, and I'm extremely excited to see where it goes. But yeah, anywho, Everhood 2. It in some ways it surpassed 1, in some ways it didn't. Like I said, the story wasn't as good, but I do sort of appreciate that it took risks. And then it had more RPG mechanics this time, which I always thought the first game was sort of, I wouldn't even call it an RPG really, because of how little RPG mechanics it had. So it was cool to see that this game was actually an RPG. And then oh my god, the music though. This game's in B tier, but the music is like S tier, easy. Like, I shit you not, this might be a top 10 OST of any game ever. Like, it's insane how many bangers are in here. And I mean, like, true, like, incredible music. Like, please listen to some of this. It is, oh my god, man. It is like, I don't know what kind of crack they were on while making this soundtrack, but it was just almost every fight I got into when I heard a new song, I was just blown away. Like, it really is that good. It's worth experiencing for the soundtrack alone. And then of course the combat's still great. The boss fights are great. Another reason why it's a little bit lower is the ending to this game is like nonsense. Like, first of all, I got like the bad ending on accident, and I had to replay the entire game, which sucked. And then on top of that, when I did get the trending, I felt like I kind of wasted my time. Like, the ending to this game is terrible. Like I said, the story is kind of just not there. You play this game for the boss fights, for the gameplay, for the music. Um, but it is what it is. Okay, top of B tier, we have Suikoden 1. I will be talking about Suikoden 2 a little later. What an amazing game. But Suikoden 1 is still a pretty good time, and I can imagine, I think it was the first PS1 RPG. I don't know for sure, but it was very early in the PS1's lifespan. I can imagine someone picking this up and being pretty blown away at the time. It's this big sort of medieval Chinese story where, well, I don't know if I want to call it Chinese influence, like warring kingdoms type deal. And you're a boy who has to gather his army and fight back against the evil empire. It's a little generic in that way, but I wouldn't call this game's story bad by any means. It actually has some very impactful and like interesting moments where it sort of took risks. Like, there are characters who will die. There are main characters that will die. There's a lot of characters that will die in this game, and it's sort of shocking how dedicated it is to showing the sort of horrors of war and the cost of the fighting that ends up happening. It's not a game that's afraid to back down. Also, it's very fun collecting all the characters. I actually 100%ed it, which I didn't think I was going to do, but I ended up collecting every character, and that was very fun. It's also very short, doesn't waste your time at all, even if you're 100%ing it. I think 100% took me like 15 hours, so you can beat it in 10 if you just want to get through it. So all that, super cool. The battle system is a little too simple for my liking. It is a very basic RPG. You attack and you have like one spell rune you can equip or whatever. Uh, it's like FF1 basic, but I guess it makes sense with how many characters are in the game. Uh, Also, I I really do love the art style of Suikoden, but It is very basic for PS1. Like it's basically a upgraded SNES game. Um, but it does look good. It does look good. I'm not gonna say it looks bad. The soundtrack is kind of interesting in that it has like two battle tracks in the entire game. I'm pretty sure it has like one boss theme and one battle track. So I wasn't very impressed by that. But I will say the town themes in this game are very good. I actually liked a lot of the town themes quite a bit, and that was kind of interesting to see because I'm more of a battle theme, big moment theme type guy, character theme guy. Town themes usually don't really stick out to me that much, so it was kind of interesting to see a game where the town themes shine the most to me. All right, we're done with B tier. Now on to A tier. A tier are the games I thought were pretty damn great. You know, we haven't gotten the S tier yet, but all these games I think are totally worth playing, and they have a lot of really great things about them, even if there are one or two flaws as well. I'll start off with Raidou. Raidou sort of barely made this tier. It's sort of in between A and B, but it was still like a great time regardless. I think Raidou is pretty underrated as an Atlas title, and I would literally kill to see a Raidou 3 or even Raidou 2 remastered. I really like Raidou 2, but Raidou 1 was a good time, especially this remake. Completely overhauls the combat. I know it's a remaster, but I do really want to call it a remake because I'm telling you, like, this is the most effort put into any remaster of any game ever. Like, there is so much new shit here. It is kind of unbelievable. Um, like new soundtracks, completely new combat system, new like story details. It's really amazing what they did with Raidou because the original game was very average, very sort of mediocre. So what they turned it into, this like great action game was very impressive to me. I love the combat and you know shooting demons and commanding them and dodging around as Raidou was great. The boss design is definitely the most impressive part because the bosses are completely revamped. They all have their own mechanics. They all have their certain like moves they do, and you got to do some weird stuff to get around it. Sometimes the bosses are really really good in this game. They're definitely a highlight. Um, I thought visually the game was pretty appealing. It strays a lot from its original look because it originally looks like very gritty, sort of, and this one is more bright and colorful, like Atlas is known for these days. But I didn't really dislike that approach. I thought it looked pretty good. A lot of the cutscenes look great. The soundtrack is definitely worth mentioning. I think the Raidou OST is super super good. I mean, it's an Atlas game, so of course the OST is good. But like Raidou has some insane tunes. It's like this. It's way way more jazzy than most Atlas soundtracks. Like the trumpets and the arrangements are just like really incredible, and the new songs they added like blew me away. Like seriously, you should definitely listen to some of the music from that game. It's just Raidou has some immaculate soundtrack. It's really cool. But that's pretty much it for Raidou. The story is good, but I don't think it's going to like blow anyone away. I do like a lot of the stuff towards the end, and I think it has one of my favorite final dungeons in an RPG. Like I actually really love the concept of the final dungeon, and the main villain's really cool too. But overall, the story is just like eh. Though I will say Narumi is probably like a top 10 Atlas character. I really enjoyed whenever Narumi was on screen. He sort of lights up any scene he's in. He's incredibly similar to Reagan from Mob Psycho. It's almost like a little bit too close to the point where I wonder if one took some inspiration from Raidou. But yeah, Raidou's a great game. You should try it. Next is Fantasian Neo Dimension. This is Mistwalker, so we got Sakaguchi and Uematsu. This is supposedly Uematsu's last full OST he's ever going to compose, and he did a very good job. I think there's still some FF games that are higher as far as OST goes, but I do think some of the tracks he made in here is like really incredible. The final boss theme specifically, I think, is a good contender for Uematsu's best track ever. Like it is unbelievable to listen to. Um, the battle system in this game is also a lot of fun. You sort of have to line up your attacks with the enemies, uh, but it's also very strategic. There's a lot of buffs and abilities and different things you take into account. I thoroughly enjoyed the turn-based combat here, and the character progression also was very satisfying to go through. Um, the storyline is very good in Fantasian. I think it's great actually. Specifically the backstories. The backstories are definitely the highlight of this game. There's multiple of them that had me tearing up, and yeah, I just thought, oh man, yeah, I almost went to some spoilers there, but yeah, there's multiple backstories that had me tearing up, and overall, I would say the characters aren't as good as some of Sakaguchi's other games. I'll be honest, but when they do shine, they really really do shine, and there's some cool stuff in here. The visuals are probably the most striking thing about Fantasian. They are made with real dioramas, so they built actual dioramas, and then the characters are on top of those dioramas, and that's how you walk around. So it's basically like pre-rendered backgrounds from PS1 games, but real, which is such an amazingly cool idea that it's like every time you're just looking at an area in this game, you're kind of blown away by that. Um, there are some downsides to this game. Like I think it is a little too long. I think I took like 60 hours to beat it, and I feel like they could have cut down a bit. Also, the EXP scaling late into the game is some of the worst in any RPG ever. I have no idea why this is a thing, but when you get into the late game, you start gaining like nothing from battles. Like you'll fight a boss that's pretty tough, and then it'll give you like 2 experience points. I don't know why the game is built like that, and it makes no sense to me. But yeah, the end game got pretty stagnant because of that, and it was sort of weird to see. It was also very difficult. This game is like hard as hell, which I'm fine with. I enjoy hard RPGs, but I should say that you're going to be thoroughly challenged with Fantasian. All right, next is Romancing Saga 2 Remake. Um, I hate the Saga series. I actually think every Saga game I've played has been pretty bad up to this point. I played Saga 1 on the freaking Wonder Swan Color. Get that? Yeah, Wonder Swan Color. And it was a game that I played. I didn't hate it, but it was also just like sort of unremarkable to me. Then I played Saga 2 on the DS, and I hated that. I've heard some people swear by the Game Boy version, but I really don't know about that. I don't think I'm going to go back and play the Game Boy version. But Saga 2 was a very weird, kind of mediocre game for me. Then I tried Saga 3, and I fucking hated it. I couldn't even complete it. I despise that game. And then I tried Romancing Saga 1 Remake on the PS2, and I think that is probably a good game, but it was just too weird and out there for me. I couldn't even figure out what I was doing. So honestly, I don't know why I even bought Romancing Saga 2 Remake, because it's like you'd think I wouldn't like it, but I sort of saw that they were trying to fix some of the issues with Saga. And so I was like, I'll give it a try. I'll give Saga one last try. And I was serious about that. I was like, if I do not like this game, I am never playing a Saga game again in my life. I don't think I like this series. Thankfully, Romancing Saga 2 Remake is very, very good. It is excellent. It's actually the first game I would give like a 9 out of 10 on this tier list. It's very fun. I loved building my kingdom. I loved upgrading the shops. I love the mechanic where it'll time skip like 100 years and then you have to rebuild your party. It's constantly taking you out of your comfort zone to try new things, and that's such a great way to design a game. The story is great. It's magnificent. All the villains are incredible in this game. Uh, I will. Well, okay, not all the villains. There's some like villains that are kind of one note, but most of the villains are pretty enjoyable. And this game added a ton of flashbacks for them to give them a very fleshed out backstory, which I appreciated a lot. I thought all those were very cool. If you're that person who likes like a main party though that kind of chats and grows, you're not going to get that here. Pretty much all the characters are very generic outside the first and final emperor. They don't really have any personalities or anything like that, but it's sort of just the way the game's built. That's a compromise they had to make, which I think for their vision worked out. I think it's still worth playing regardless. And yeah, it's just a fun time. It's a fun time being an emperor, fun time managing your kingdom. The game is pretty visually appealing. Even if it's not like super high budget, I thought the game looked pretty good throughout the whole playthrough. The dungeon design was surprisingly good. Exploring dungeons is a lot of fun. If I can think of one complaint off the top of my head, it would be that I think there are too many enemies in the dungeon. I think it's a little too annoying to avoid them. I would have liked it if there was more options to kind of like skirt around enemies or just putting less of them in the dungeons overall. A little bit too much. But the combat's fun, so I didn't mind it too much. And yeah, the soundtrack as well. Kenji Ito is a god. He makes really good music, and Romancing Saga 2 Remake has very very good music. The boss, oh my god, the battle theme, the boss themes, the final boss theme. It's all the battle themes are just so good in this game. It's really like just next level shit. So yeah, Romancing Saga 2 Remake, great. First 9 out of 10 on this list. Next is the 100 line. This game fucking sucks, dude. It's made by the Danganronpa creator. Fuck this game. No, obviously it's an A tier. I like this game. 100 line. Where do you start with a game like this? So first of all, something to admit. I technically haven't really completed this game. I got 2 endings out of the 100 endings in the game. One of those is considered sort of like the truth ending, though. So I'll take it. Um, I don't know if that means it's a canon ending or what, but once I got that ending, I was pretty satisfied for now, even though I do plan on going back to the game eventually. So, 100 line is a game with 100 routes, not just endings, 100 routes. And every route sort of branches off into its own story. And that's insane. That is an insane feat that Kodaka accomplished. It's one of the most ambitious things I've seen for this type of game. And it's pretty mind blowing when you really get into the details. I enjoyed what I played of it a lot. The story is great. I will admit some of these characters are a little annoying sometimes. That's kind of just a Danganronpa thing. They're not all winners. But I think most of the characters, sort of like at some point redeem themselves in this game, or if they don't redeem themselves in the routes I play, they probably will in other routes. I think all the characters are justified in their existence, and it's a story with a lot of twists and turns. Kodaka loves his big twists. He loves sort of baiting you until the very end of the game. With questions upon questions upon questions. But all the answers I got were pretty satisfying, and it takes a lot of risks with a pretty damn sad ending that I didn't really expect. I was left pretty emotional by the end. So it's a great story, and the gameplay, it actually has gameplay. So Danganronpa sort of has gameplay, but not really. Underline has real gameplay. It's a strategy RPG, and I enjoyed this aspect a lot. I think there maybe could have been some more character customization there, um, but I do enjoy the combat a lot, and I was able to kind of break the game pretty severely on my own, which is always fun to do. I pretty much thrashed the final boss with almost no counter. Not to say the game's easy. I had to struggle a lot to find those broken strategies, so it just ended up being more rewarding than anything else. Um, so yeah, 100 Line is Kodaku's most ambitious game to date. I think it's his best game to date, and I've also only played like a little bit of it. I still have a lot more to go with 100 Line, so maybe I'll give some expanded thoughts at a later date. But it's a great game. 9 out of 10. Very fun. Okay, next is a bit of a weird one. It's FF12 Zodiac Age. And the reason I'm saying it's a weird one is because I have not liked this game for most of my life. I tried to play it time and time again, and every time I bounced off. Except for this time, where I locked in. I was like, fuck it. I'm playing FF12. I'm going to beat it. I loved it. I really loved it. FF12 is the most underrated FF, definitely. Oh my god, where do I even start with a game like FF12? Like the Gambit system is just so interesting and intuitive and fun to mess around with, and there's so many different strategies you can do in this game, and they're all like just they're all like valid, and there's almost nothing that's useless in this game. It's more of a true RPG than pretty much any FF could ever hope to be. Like it really kills it in that aspect. Um, the storyline. Okay, I have some gripes about the storyline. I think not all characters are given the chance to shine. Like I think Pinello was kind of basic, honestly. I think Bosch's storyline, while I really liked it by the end, I think it was paced out weird. But the characters that do hit, like Balthier and Ash, oh my god, Balthier is like top 5 FF character, like top guy in fiction for me. Balthier is so fucking likable and good, and oh my god, there's some moments with him that made me like so emotional. I I adore Balthier. He really is. It's worth playing this game just for Balthier. Like he's that level. Um, the visuals of this game too. I really do adore how this world looks. It's very Star Wars. The amount of Star Wars inspiration is almost too much at times, but I really love how that looks, and I really love the art style. And there's a ton of really impressive cutscenes towards the end of the game that like blew me away. The soundtrack as well. I forgot his name. Sakamoto, something Sakamoto is his name, but he's composed a few games you'll see later on this tier list, and his soundtracks are just so cinematic and epic and cool. They're not really something I would listen to much outside of the game, but when you're playing the game and hearing these soundtracks, it's really a joy. So yeah, FF12, I finally beat it, and I loved it. It's a great game. Top of A tier, we have something sort of in the same realm universe as 12, Vagrant Story. Um, I've heard conflicting reports on whether Vagrant Story is an Evilise game. Some people say it was originally not meant to be an Evilise game, but then they threw some ties in. I don't really know, but it doesn't really matter to me because Vagrant Story is very fucking good. In fact, it is the greatest storyline out of any game we've covered so far. The storyline of Vagrant Story is one of the true PS1 greats. Like, it is right up there with FF7. It is right up there with Xenogears. It is, like, truly masterful. Matsuno killed it with Vagrant Story. Like, oh my god, it is one of the most, like, philosophical, like, interesting, like, character-driven stories. It has like commentary on religion, on politics, on mankind. It's like a Bible almost, unraveling everything in Vagrant Story. It is just such a good story. It is, even if you think the gameplay is garbage, which I mean, you're a little bit valid, honestly. I'll get into that, but even if you hate Vagrant Stories, like how it looks, its gameplay, whatever, like you've got to watch the cutscenes or something. Like it is such a good story. Um, and I do think the visuals are amazing too. Like I'm a big sucker for PS1 visuals, and Vagrant Story has to be the best looking PS1 game. I honestly don't even think it's a contest. Like there's nothing else in the system that's so like cinematic and cool and gritty and realistic, and it's like a comic book mixed with like a amazingly well directed film at the same time. I really don't think anything else on the PS1 can stand up to it visually. Um, where we do run into some problems with Vagrant Story is the gameplay. It is extremely tedious and extremely difficult to understand. The weapon upgrading system is insane. The combat is insane. It is a game made for insane people. Even Matsuno himself said that this is not a game for FF fans. This is a game for crazy people. And I actually did end up enjoying it towards the end. Like by the end of the game, it sort of all clicked, and I was like obliterating bosses, and that was actually a really good feeling to fully understand something this complex. The main issue I have with it is that with normal enemy encounters, it's kind of annoying. Like bosses in this game were a lot of fun because you sort of have to figure them out, you know. But with the normal enemies, it was just a little bit too much. Like I didn't want to have to go into my menu to switch weapons and switch attributes and switch equipment for every single enemy, and you kind of have to do that because you'll just be doing zero damage if you don't have the right stuff equipped, which that's a little bit too much for every single bat and knight and enemy in the game. You know, it's like bosses is one thing, enemies that got kind of annoying. It's where I could see a lot of cool quality of life in a remaster of this game, where like they added a weapon wheel or just stuff to switch your equipment around quicker. Uh, I think that would have helped a lot. I also like straight up don't think I could have beat this game without save states, which is kind of sad to admit, but yeah, this game is very difficult, and there's a lot of trial and error, and it's tedious at times. The dungeon crawling can be tedious, you know, and the block puzzles are just bad. I have nothing nice to say about the block puzzles. I think that is just a flaw in this game, and they should not be there. I never felt good while doing them. They aren't fun. Fuck the block puzzles, bad part of the game. But it, I have to put it top of A just because of all the good aspects of the game. It's a game that really excels in what it does and what it set out to do. I feel like, and for that, it's top of A, but not quite S. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, we're at S tier finally. Oh my god. Okay, so here are the masterpieces I played this year. We're starting off with FF6 Pixel Remaster. I always liked FF6 a lot. I played it similar to the 4 on the Wii. And FF6 is just I mean, come on, it's FF6. People know this is where the series locked in. Kefka is one of the greatest villains in gaming. There's tons of great moments. It has a very serious cinematic storyline. Tons and tons of truly emotional moments and just beautiful, beautiful shit like the opera house and the scene at the beginning of Act Two of the game, which I'm sure a lot of people know. Like this is a game that I feel like Sakaguchi wasn't just trying to make a game that would define like JRPGs, but he was trying to make a game that would define the entire era of gaming in general. Like that, FF6 is such a masterpiece. It's really up there. Um, I probably have it a little bit lower than other FF fans though, just because I think that some other games do some certain aspects better. But you know, FF6 is still great. I actually enjoyed the gameplay a lot more this time. That was kind of one of my complaints originally, is that I thought the gameplay was pretty boring because it's like you just slap magic on everyone and then they're all wrecking shit with, crazy spells. And I'm like, that's kind of a boring way to go about it. But I really went out there to try and some out of the box shit. Like I used Gao this time, and I got some of Gao's best, abilities, and that was a lot of fun. And then I made a Setzer build with dice, where he's like rolling the dice 8 times a turn to do random amounts of damage, and that was such a fun and insanely overpowered build. I that part of the game was a lot more fun this time around. And then of course you have the Pixel Remastered soundtrack, which it's amazing. I actually do think this is the only Pixel Remaster game where there are some tracks in the original that sound a little bit better, but for the most part, I think they killed it. And shit like the opera scene, voiced and sung out. I mean, it's just so good. You got to play FS6. You have to. Next is Xenoblade X Definitive Edition. This is a weird game to place so high because I do believe it belongs this high, but there's a lot of justification I kind of have to go through. First of all, I straight up do not think the game is fun before you get a Skell. I was not enjoying myself. I didn't think the story was that interesting. Once I got a Skell, though, it really changed my mind on the game. Like, I think Skells are one of my favorite things in gaming. Like, it is so cool exploring this massive world in a giant robot and all the customization that allows, the epic battles you'll have in the Skell, and all this. It's just wow. It's just like there's no other game that's done it like this. And when you get the flight module and you're flying around in your robot, forget it. It is so cool. There's just a feeling in this game that you don't really get from any other Xenoblade or any other RPG in general. The storyline and is a little bit hard to talk about because I actually think the first 10 chapters of this game, which is most of the story, there are only 13, arguably 15 chapters in this game. And so saying 10 of those is not great is a lot. I think the first 10 chapters do some things well, like the world building's good, and um, yeah, that's pretty much it. The world building's good. I don't really care about the characters very much and shit like that. Then chapter 11 hits, and chapter 11 was magnificent. Like it really shows a side to one of the characters that I wasn't expecting, and everyone just kind of locks in. And then chapter 12 is the conclusion of the original story, which is also just great. I don't know how the fuck you guys survived so long on that cliffhanger. That shit would have driven me mad. And then, of course, you get into chapter 13, which is some of the best Xenoblade content in the entire series. It's not quite up there with 3 for me, but it does hit the high points of 1 in that chapter 13. Like, I think chapter 13 is on par with the best parts of Xenoblade 1, which is saying a lot because Xenoblade 1 has such a good storyline. Um, Also, the soundtrack is by like Sawano, who did like the Attack on Titan soundtrack, and it's just wow. There are some songs in this game that'll give you goosebumps. Like "So Na So Fern" is one of my favorite Xeno songs now. The flying theme is kind of cheesy, but it's also super catchy. Like great music in this game. But it's a Xeno game, so of course it's gonna have good music. Love Xenoblade X. This is the only game in S tier that I don't know if I would recommend to everyone for sure. Like all the other games, I could say like, yeah, play this game, play this game, play this game. Xenoblade X is going to be very hit or miss. For me, it was a hit. Thankfully, I love this game, and it also introduced me to Al, which is one of the greatest characters of all time. Amazing. FF5. So I'm one of those nerds that like FF5 more than 6. I, it's hard to justify this because I'm just gonna say right now, FF5 story is not as good as 6 or 7 or 9 or 10. I think it's really good, and it has one of my favorite moments in the series. That literally makes me cry every time I see it. But um, story's not really on that level. Um, but it's just the complexity of the gameplay that always gets me. It's kind of crazy. FF5 introduced it didn't introduce job system. FF3 did, but it renovated that job system in such a way on the Super Nintendo that I don't think any other game has done better since. Like I know Bravely Default has a very similar class system, but I don't know. There's something about FF5's class system that's just always so fun. This is my most replayed game ever. I've played it 5 times completion, which is FF5 times. This is my fifth playthrough. My first time on the Pixel remaster. I just don't think I could ever get bored of this game. It's like the job system is just so good. There's so many different ways to play the game, so many different builds, so much customization, so many insane abilities. Like FF5 is just arguably the most fun like turn-based game. It's definitely the most fun Final Fantasy game, I think. Like really, really just knocks it out of the park with the gameplay. The soundtrack as well is horribly underrated. Easily the most underrated Uematsu soundtrack. Up there is his best work. Battle at the Big Bridge, one of the best boss themes in all of gaming, not just FF. Like, come on, man. Like, it kills it. I love F5. It's like a top 30 game for me of all time. It's great. Okay, we're in the top three games. This has gone for a while. I didn't know it was gonna go on this long, honestly. But top three games. FF Tactics Evilist Chronicles. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is my new favorite FF of all time. It is that good. The storyline is not only incredible, it is important. It is legitimately a game I think everyone needs to play because the story is something that can benefit the human race. It is that good. It's Matsuno, man. I played 3 Matsuno games this year, and this one was just so good. He just has this way of writing where he's not afraid to criticize things, and he's not afraid to make his points known and to have risky plot decisions and this Shakespearean sort of writing. It's just really on another level. And the story of FF Tactics is 100% worth playing the game alone for. It is so beautiful, so impactful, so like mesmerizing. The voice acting as well. My God, my cats are fighting. But the storyline as well, just really is this like, oh man, or I mean, not storyline. I already talked about storyline. Voice acting. Voice acting is so good in this. I have to say, it's like top five voice acted games of all time for me. Like you got Ben Starr in here, but you also got like so many other great like European voice actors that just nail the tone they're going for. I adore the voice acting. I adore the production of this game. The quality of life and UI is so clean, so crisp, so engaging, The gameplay is just immaculate. It has a sort of similar job system to FF5, but arguably, or no, definitely a lot more complicated. There's whole job trees, there's multiple different abilities you can equip and customize. You can have each character fulfill very specific roles, and that's just so much fun. Like, you can totally break this game. I definitely broke it by the end, but it was sort of similar to Vagrant Story, and in that, yes, I did break the gameplay, but it was very fun getting there and very challenging getting there. So I didn't mind. I didn't think it was too easy. Um, yeah, just incredible game. Another Sakamoto score, by the way, which he kills it here. Like the soundtrack is so engaging and epic, and each battle just really pulls you in. It's an all time game for me. It's like top 15 games of all time for me. Best FF I ever played. please play FF Tactics. But that was actually not the best. Well, I don't know if you still want to count Evil's Chronicles a PS1 game, but it's based on a PS1 game. Whatever. It's not the best PS1 game I played this year. The best PS1 game I played this year was Suikoden II. Not by a lot, I should say. I would say I rate these games more or less equal, but I'm going to give the edge to Suikoden II just because FF Tactics is a game you sort of always hear as a masterpiece. If you're in RPG circles, you're like, oh, FF Tactics, masterpiece, so good. Suikoden 2, you hear that a lot as well, but it sort of surprised me just how much I liked it. Like, Suikoden 2 is a ultra masterpiece. It is like, oh my god, it is such a good story. Like, these, I think the main thing that hits for me is just how good the characters are. Like, oh my, these are some of the best characters in fiction. Like, I think Luca Blight, who's like one of the main villains of this game, I think he is on the level of Kefka as far as like crazy, insane villains go. He is so detestable, so evil, so hateable in like the best way possible that he just completely shines. He has no morals, nothing he won't do to achieve his goal. He's one of those real just bastard villains you love to hate. But he's like not even the best villain in the game, which like that blows my mind that they made not just one but two like unbelievably good villains. And then on top of that, just like all the other characters are just so good as well too. You're like your childhood friend, Nanami, she's fantastic. Like all the people back at the base, the strategist guy, like all the characters are so good in this game. I shouldn't say all because it is a Suikoden game, so there's like 107 characters recruit. Obviously, not all of them are made with the same amount of love, but I will say it's a lot better than Suikoden 1 in that a lot of these characters do have like little quests attached to them or some sort of story relevance that elevates them a lot. And so collecting them was very fun. Though I will say my only complaint with the game is that you can get locked out of some areas a little too easily and too quickly, and then you will like not be able to get the best ending if you miss something, which I thought was kind of dumb. And I did miss out on the best ending because of this, but weirdly enough, I thought that the ending I got was more interesting than the actual true ending. This is a game about war. It's a game with high stakes. It's like I feel like the ending I got, where not everything was sunshine and rainbows, was a lot more impactful than the best ending. And like, oh my god, that true final boss fight, like, oh my god, this is like, it's one of those stories. It's just like it's so good, and you can't really explain why without getting into spoilers. But please, if you enjoy like good, emotional, powerful, character-driven stories, like please play Suikoden 2. Like it's not just a story either. Like it's like the gameplay is way better than one because you can equip more runes now. The characters are way more diverse, so there's a lot more gameplay options. And then on top of that, the like the visuals, like the sprite art is so cinematic, so cool. Yeah, just play Suikoden 2. Like even if you have to skip one, whatever, just play two. We're at the top of the tier list with Expedition 33. Probably doesn't surprise that many people. Expedition 33 has become the most glazed game in like history over the past year, and it deserves every award, every single compliment it's ever gotten. It is, in fact, what I believe to be the greatest game of all time. I think Expedition 33 is the peak of RPGs. It's the peak of everything games have been building towards, been accomplished. Like, it's not flawless. I'm not going to say it's flawless, but the flaws are so minor and so easy to overlook in like the eyes of the true passion you're experiencing. Like, just like the most fun, incredible turn-based combat where they made sure to keep like this deep level of strategy and planning and team building while also having this really fun parry mechanic that makes me like it made me excited for the enemy's turn in a turn-based game. That's crazy. Like that's weird. Um so yeah, just amazing gameplay, amazing character customization, amazing visuals, amazing soundtrack, the greatest soundtrack I've ever heard. At least like top 3 game soundtracks all time. Like it is just, oh my god, man. So many good songs. I have so many songs downloaded from the soundtrack on my phone. It's absurd. And then of course the story just hit on such a personal level, man. Like, of course, you have that end of Act One, twist that everyone was shocked by, but just within the first like 30 minutes of the game, you're already so emotionally invested. There's so many powerful themes at play. The most amazing twist at the end of Act Two as well, and just such a personal message and journey about the cycle of grief and the artist's journey. It's a very special game. I don't know if I've connected to a game story and had it hit quite as hard as Expedition 33 has, and I don't know if I'll ever experience a story like this again. It is something that just thinking about it can sort of get me teary-eyed and just like it's just you gotta play Expedition 33. If you're gonna play any video game in your life, it's got to be Expedition. It's not overrated. It hasn't been overglazed. It's everyone who talks shit about it, they can only think of nitpicks or weird criteria that only they have. I don't want to go into the haters too much because the haters of Expedition are mostly like it's mostly either something that clearly was never going to be for them or they're making shit up because it's overrated in their eyes. But yeah, Expedition, amazing. Well, that's everything. That went on for a while. I was sort of trying to do this fast and I didn't, but whatever. I think this is fun to do. And for the end of the video, I'm going to make my announcement, and that is my challenge for 2026. I have asked 12 of my friends to recommend me one game for each month of the year, and I'll be completing all of them and making content about each and every game. So, yeah, look forward to that with 2026. My first game in January is going to be Octopath Zero. So, yeah, I should have something out um, either later this month or sometime in February about that game. All right. This has been Mac. Video games are awesome, but I'm getting hungry.